Hi everybody and welcome back. Welcome if you're new here. This is my second ever YouTube video. I had a little extra time and I thought I would sit down and work through and do our June budget for next month, just so we kind of have an idea where we're sitting. I've already worked this through one time, but I thought I would do it on camera too, so those of you who are new to budgeting might get an idea of how it works, how to do it. Obviously, budgeting is not a one-size-fits-all type of deal. Really just depends on your finances, your goals, when you get paid, things like that. But I will go ahead and talk you through how we do our budget. I'm not an expert by any means. I do like to do a paper budget. I'm not really like technologically advanced. I'd rather do pen and paper right in front of me, have a hard copy. That's just how I operate. So my husband and I get paid sporadically throughout the month. He's twice a month. He gets paid. I get paid sometimes weekly, sometimes a couple times a week, once a month from one job. I have a lot of different side hustles, so my income is all over. So I decided to just break it up into two sections for the month, the 1st through the 14th, the 15th to the end of the month. That could be the 30th, 31st, whatever month it is. That's depends on how we do that portion of the budget, but just break it up into two sections, kind of based around his paychecks, and then my money just kind of helps out wherever. So we are going to go ahead and write this in for June. I created this template. It's not perfect. It's got all of our bills. It works for me. It's good enough in my eyes. So we'll go ahead and start. Is that in frame? Yes. Okay. So June, we have started to break our mortgage payment down into two chunks, so it's not so overwhelming, so we don't have to just set all of that money aside out of one paycheck. We've split it in half and broke it into two different parts. So we save half of it the 1st through the 14th, the other half the 15th to the end of the month. That way it's ready to pay the beginning of the next month. So I'll go ahead and write that in there for the 1st of June. We do have some subscriptions. That's not something we're really willing right now to part with. We do use them. We have evaluated ones that we do use, ones we don't use, and gotten rid of the ones that we don't use. It may come a time where we decide to get rid of them, but for right now, we do pay for Disney Plus. And I feel like subscriptions and other stuff are raising in prices right now, so I think this is what we're paying. It might be a little bit more than that. Our internet. We are on a debt-free journey. This year, it's probably going to take a couple years for us. So some of these amounts are going to seem really large. We have just worked towards being able to pay this amount. We're doing the debt snowball, the Dave Ramsey method. So on my Kohl's card, I'm going to pay $275 next month. A good chunk of it. That'll be almost paid off. GWL is Great Wolf Lodge for a trip that we took, and that should pay that off or close to. I actually overpaid Alliant last month, so we have a credit that will take care of all of June's bill, and a portion of July's bill. So that is kind of nice. I'm sad that I overpaid it, and I could have used that money, for stuff this month, but that's right. We won't have to pay it next month. So I'm actually just gonna cross that one out. Amazon Prime. Another credit card I'm going to pay a good chunk on here. And then this is a tablet I have for one of my small business adventures. Kind of use it as a computer. Let's see here. We're going to budget $120 for gas for this 2 weeks. It seems kind of on the low end, but I don't really go anywhere. The most traveling that we do in my car is for ball games that are out of town. And I kind of like gauge over that 2-month period, or that 2-week period, where the games are, about how much I think we're going to use. My husband works right in town. And then for work, he does drive a company vehicle. So it's really him just driving to the outside of town and me taking the kids to school. So it's probably, I don't know if it's on the low end for most people, but for us, that's pretty low, so that's good. And groceries, $210. That does seem low. That's for 4 of us. I have a teenager and a 9-year-old. They get free school lunches. Just with COVID, that's how it's been, free lunches. Some days they do decide to pack a lunch, so that's included in there. I meal plan really, really well, so that is for 2 weeks. That's breakfast, dinners, snacks, and some lunches for when the kids pack or when I'm home when my husband takes a lunch. So meal planning has been a lifesaver with the rising gas prices, or grocery prices, sorry. I've been able to really cut that down quite a bit. I'm also going to make an extra payment. My daughter gets to go to summer camp this year, so I'm going to make an extra payment to her summer camp of $55. Make a note of what that's for. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add these numbers up and see where we're at and how much money we will have to put in our cash envelopes and our sinking funds. Okay, that puts us at $1,478.73. Sometimes I like to round this number up just to make it a little bit easier to do the math. And that will also kind of be a built-in buffer in our checking account. If I'm just adding and rounding up a couple dollars each section, that is going to grow a buffer for us. So I will round that up to let's do $14.80 for expenses. Okay, and I'm going to fill in our income off camera. Actually, I'll just put it in there. It's fine, because our surplus is going to show what that is anyway. So we have 2020 minus 1480 gives us a surplus of $540. So we will figure out where that money is going to go. We're doing a zero-based budget, so every dollar has a job. We put our money to work. We make it work for us. We have big, lofty goals. We want to get out of debt. We want to live. We want to give. So I am going to allocate this money to some of our cash envelopes, sinking funds, and extra debt payments. So if I have $540, we are going to work the debt snowball, which means our smallest amount is going to be this Great Wolf Lodge. We're going to pay that off. That's $104. Our next one is going to be, I think that's the only debt payment we're going to do with this extra money here. My kids are in a lot of activities, so we do set a good chunk of that money aside for their activities, whether that be for concession stand, gas to get to places, admission fees to get into the games is a big one. My high schooler, it costs to get into his games. So we set a big chunk of that aside. That also helps pay for if they have any extra equipment they need, dance pictures, anything like that. So we are going to allocate $145 to kids' activities. And let's do that subtraction really quick. So we had 540 minus 104 minus 145. That still leaves us $291. I am going to allocate $150 of that to my savings box, and my savings box is available on my Etsy, which is linked in my description box, I believe. And that is a $2,000 savings box. Looks like this. And in it, I need to restuff this. I had to take some of the money out. I just need to restuff it with some different bills. I'm going to do that in another video probably, but the envelopes are labeled in different increments of 5. We have 10s, 15s, 20s, and 50s. Once this is all filled up, it adds up to $2,000. You can stuff as little or as much as you want each week, each day, each month, whatever works for your budget, your situation. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. Some weeks you might be able to stuff multiple envelopes, some weeks only one, some none. So it's really kind of a go at your own pace savings challenge, but I am going to allocate $150 to this. I'd like to really see this grow. Okay, where does that put us? That leaves us 141. And I think what I would like to do is, my son needs braces, and I'd like to get him those soon so he does not have them his senior year. I'd like him to have them off before senior pictures and graduation. I'm sure he would like to as well. So we are kind of quickly trying to save up for braces. So I'm going to put $50 into our envelope for braces. That leaves us 91. We also need to re-side our house and put up a privacy fence. So I'm gonna put $50 into that envelope, labeled siding and fence. Okay, that leaves us $41. I'm gonna stop there and I'm going to make that be a little added buffer into our checking account for unknown expenses, for things that might come out, just so that we don't go overdraft. So that's how I work our budget. I do, like I said, I break it up into 2 sections, the 1st through the 14th, 15th to the end of the month. This includes my husband getting paid twice a month, all of my side hustle income, things like that. What else? Yeah. Gas, groceries, that's 2 weeks. I budget for this 2-week section, this 2-week section. Like I said, we do zero-based budgeting. So usually the number is a little smaller than this, but I would like to have a little bit more of a buffer in our checking account. So it's basically taking the money you have, starting where you're at. You know, your numbers might look different than this. You might have more debts. You might have less debts. You might have more of a surplus. You might be negative. You have to just start where you're at with what you have. I saw some really cool quotes today that really have resonated with me. One of them was by Dave Ramsey, and it said, it's not about how much money you have, it's about how good you are with money. And I thought that was really cool, because no matter what you have, you can do something with it. You have to start somewhere. Everyone has to start somewhere. If you make your money work for you, if you start just by making a budget, you know, it's scary at first. It was scary when we first did a budget. I was like, how are we living? How are we making ends meet? You know, we had a major deficit, but we just had to work through it. We had to prioritize. We had to figure out what was important to us. We had to really just start tackling that debt so we could have a surplus to pay off debt, to save up for things. You've got to start somewhere. Another quote that I saw also was, you can't out earn your spending habits. So it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, if you have terrible spending habits, if you're not doing a budget, if you're not knowing where your money's going, you're in no better position than someone that has very little. It's really just about what you have and what you're doing with it, how to make it work for you. So we have lofty goals. We have some big dreams and plans that we would like to set in motion in the very near future. So this is just a stepping stone to get us to that point. So this is not everything. We also have some things that we pay or give that are, you know, not in our budget. It's just on top of this. This is just like our bills and stuff. So that's just how we do it. I like to do this for each month. I like to do it about a month in advance. So I know, you know, do we need to rework something? Do I need to save more money this week or this month, less money this month? However, just to have an idea of where we're going to be, our income can really vary. It just depends on how much side hustling I do, how much overtime my husband gets, whatever. So it's good to have a plan. You have to start somewhere. Yeah, that's where we're at. Hope you all have a great day, and I hope that this motivated you to start somewhere. Take what you have and do something with it. See you next time.